Voting is underway right now in Missouri to choose congressional candidates for the November election, but the map of congressional districts could still change again. The Republican-led General Assembly passed a new map earlier this year. It splits Kansas City in an effort to send one more Republican to Congress. But a citizen petition is trying to roll back that change. Organizers collected more than 300,000 signatures. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins has until Election Day to certify those signatures. If enough are valid, the new map will be put on pause retroactively.
I do have some questions about the constitutionality of having a referendum on a congressional redistricting.
If he has an argument against the constitutionality of the referendum on a congressional map, he's known that argument since December.
Well, both sides agree. If the signatures are certified on August 4th, there will still be a long legal battle over this to come.